So my name is Derek. I'm here. I want to thank everybody for getting through the weather, and we finally got some sunshine, so that's pretty good. We're going to talk a little more about blockchain. Is everybody can handle a little more blockchain talk here, I assume? We're at the right spot for that, and I promise I'll work in some insurance as well, so it's equally as exciting, right? Yeah, and well, we're good for that. We can do that. What is Insureco? Insureco is a blockchain-enabled, decentralized, end-to-end insurance software platform. Where we're different is that we bring value and savings to every segment of the insurance transaction without automating or eliminating and exiting any of the existing players. So from retail broker all the way to reinsurance broker, we make sure that everybody stays in the chain. And by getting everybody on the exact same system, we're able to provide up to a 20 to 30% cost savings that is passed along to everyone in the chain, and we create trust and transparency at every level. That's a very key thing in insurance is trust. So much money is spent on trust in insurance, and that is something that blockchain provides, as we all know. So over the last 20 years, as we said, I've been automating insurance workflows for retailers, wholesalers, risk retention groups. We've primarily been focused in the commercial insurance market. And in last year, we launched our blockchain initiative, where at the beginning of the year, we've launched one product, cyber liability, completely on blockchain. It gives visibility and transparency through all. Over the next couple weeks, we're going to be rolling out our other 80 products that are centralized around general liability, workman's comp, trucking as well, transportation. It looks like we've got a little, I guess everybody can see our years there. So we are going to be in June releasing our platform for developers to come on and build upon the microservices in which that we've created. And we're going to be getting into some peer-to-peer insurance. That's something that's very hot right now. And then the other thing that we're getting into that I'm personally excited about is we're building a reinsurance vehicle that is going to allow emerging risks. So when you look at these companies, and everyone here is learning about this right now, you're going to have automated decision processes within insurance. You're going to be changing the philosophy of how these businesses run. And what are going to be those emerging risks that are going to come out? You're going to execute a claim because you saw a storm. You're going to execute a claim because you have information from the government saying that this has happened, and so it's called parametric insurance. And so those claims will be executed, and where is that? Where's the liability going to be for that? And where is there going to be coverage that's going to be needed for those emerging markets? And so that's what we're going to be incubating this emerging risk that's going on in insurance, and we're going to be participating in that. So I'm personally really excited about that. Currently, we have over 4,000 retail agents. It's a little dated now, but we have 4,000 retail agents that access our system on usually a daily basis, and they have over 70,000 active policy holders. Currently, we have about 15,000 monthly quotes that are going through to provide insurance, and these quotes are from what we call Genesis agents. Now, these are forward-thinking insurance professionals that understand that blockchain, winter is coming, right? Blockchain is coming, and it's bringing sweeping change. And so they want to be the champions of this disruption and not the victims of that disruption. We also work with some of today's most well-funded insurtech companies. And those of you that, can I just, before I get in and let their cat out of the bag, is anybody here in insurance technology? Is anybody in InsTech, as we call it? One guy? Okay, great. Is anybody a broker? Does anybody sell insurance here? All right, one guy. All right. Has anybody bought insurance before? I think we can all kind of agree with that, right? So what's happening in insurance right now is money loves insurtech. Why is there so much investment? We see investment coming into the ICO market right now for disruption, right? And the same thing is being said for insurance. Insurance is a $1 trillion a year business. It has billions of customers. It has millions of qualified salespeople that are trained and ready to sell hundreds of thousands of different products. we've seen in Q3 was 50 separate funding transactions. So we have had record numbers, just like ICO, we've had record numbers of money flooding into InsureTech. And what are they doing? From where we see it, they're disrupting, and I'm gonna try and put this in quotation marks, right? They're disrupting, and what they're doing is they're automating the sales channel. They're automating how insurance is sold. They're saying that from application all the way down to the policy that they're gonna be able to deliver that information, and they've disrupted, but that's not disruption. We all know that that's not disruption. That's just making a really slick website and you're just automating some person out of a job. That's not disruptive. I mean, maybe it's disruptive to the guy that you're kicking out of a job, yes, but you're not truly disrupting the industry. So where is this disruption and where is this disruption gonna come from? Well, as we're all here, right? Because blockchain is supposed to be that disruptor. Blockchain is supposed to enter the market and disrupt. And we're seeing there's been a ton of them, industry-specific solutions or solutions that you're learning about today or yesterday in the classes on how to build blockchain to be able to apply to specific industries. And we're seeing that happen, and whenever that comes out, you've got a 20 to 30% frictionless savings. We've all heard it before, right? You eliminate the middleman, get him out of there, and now you have all this extra money that you can put in your pocket. Well, the problem in insurance is that we're doing it wrong. We're targeting the wrong middleman. You're targeting the middleman in the insurance transaction, and they traditionally make 5%. So you get your investors, you get your money, and you go automate these guys out of a job, and now you've got 5%. So you're gonna go a little bit further, you're gonna automate out the actual retail salesperson. Now you've given yourself another 10%. So now you're at 15, maybe your investors aren't so upset because you promised them 20, so you got 15, hey, that's good, right? The problem with that is that you have eliminated a very vital handshake that allows insurance to go on. You've eliminated the retail to wholesale handshake. The retailer in insurance is the advocate for us, all of us that buy. The wholesaler or the underwriter is the advocate for the actual program itself. So it'd be like going to court without having lawyers. You want to make sure that both sides are equally represented, so that way the business transaction that happens is one that's mutually beneficial for both. It's not all tech fault. I'm a tech guy, so I preach how tech is terrible. But it's not all their fault. We have in insurance a group of people who are professionals that make a lot of money, and they're standing there with their fist full of money on the street corner, and they know that their company runs on data. They know they need this data. They know that technology is going to help them make more money and solidify their place in the market, but they don't understand it. And so when you have a fistful of money and you're standing on a street corner and you know you need something, but you don't know anything about it, you're going to get mugged, essentially. And that's what's happened, is it's created this false opportunity signal that all this tech money is coming into insurance, and they are focusing on the fact that the insurance industry depends on this data, and they're holding them hostage. We affectionately call these folks data thugs. And as we're learning all of these new technologies here, this is a developer conference, obviously. Next week, I'm gonna be in Vegas, and I'm gonna be speaking at an insurance convention. It's an automation insurance convention for wholesalers. And they're all gonna be looking at me, and they're gonna say, you're the blockchain guy, so how does this work for me, right? How do I not get eliminated? How is this gonna work? So how it works is, as we know, any good revolution starts from the bottom. And in insurance, there is this parasitic industry that has been sitting on top of it. They take your data from your Google search and they sell it to the insurance companies, and they make a lot of money doing it. That inflates the cost of insurance and inflates all the prices that we pay, but doesn't actually go to anything in the insurance transaction. It's just a data fee. It's a data take from one side and hand to the next. Now, I have buddies that they own insurance companies, and they are trucking transportation. And for instance, they have a federal motor carrier data that comes down, all the inspections and all the trucks that go on. And they didn't know how to access this data because it was a 5 million row Excel spreadsheet, right? They had no idea how to deal with it. These are functional people. In this group, we could probably figure that out, drop it in Mongo, and we'd be ready to go, right? They don't know that. So now they are paying $200,000 a year just to have this data aggregated for them. We're seeing all of these new fundings, those 50 transactions, they're creating more and more systems for people who are salespeople to log into. That's the last thing a salesperson needs, is another system to log into. But this is the disruption that's being spoken to in my industry. In insurance, disruption is being sold as automating sales, which that isn't disruption at all. That isn't disruption. What's disruption? Disruption is power to the people. Disruption is not keeping the power, not building a solution from the top. The solution must be built from the bottom. In the same way that Satoshi said that we want to send value from us, and I don't want the bank involved, right? We've got to remove the asset that drives the industry and put that asset back into our hands. And that's not a very popular argument, as I'm sure you can imagine from my spot. But what blockchain has done for us and what we've been able to do is we've luckily got into it early, and we've been able to retool our entire platform to be based upon tokens, to be based upon this new philosophy, and to build something for the insured that allows them to stick their data in it. And once your data's in there, you will stop being bullied by these data thugs, let's say. You will stop paying that extra tax that's on top of insurance, that's this lead gen, right? And you'll start being able to earn rewards for that. So you would, I'm trying to be more functional than I am technical at this point. So you would basically save your data into a blockchain, and then you would share that out through smart contract. And once we're on one ecosystem, that data can then be utilized without being sent from one person to the next. And so there's this really great analogy that I have one client, and they get a lead in the door they pay $100 for, and that lead comes in from Google. Somebody does an AdWords search and needs general liability insurance. That comes in, and then that's blasted out to 100 different product managers, right? So they're emailing out all of this sensitive information that you put in through secure channels, and you did this. So that is something that we want to stop. Once we can get that back in our hands, once we can get that data not being sent everywhere, that is truly where the power is going to lie. Now, once we get all the data into one system, we create what we're calling InsurTech Singularity. So this is one system that everybody runs on. The carriers come to it. They bring the innovators from insurance product. They're able to use building blocks and put together what makes a successful insurance program. And then we're also allowing developers to come in and utilize our microservice platform to build documents, to use e-signature, to do these functional pieces that are required for the insurance transaction. We can release these innovations as a plugin, right? We call it our Insurance Program Foundry. So you can come in and you can develop your own technology, your own helper, and that can sit on top of our rail system. And as policies bind, you will be able to be paid your fee. So it allows, if you're going to create some really cool innovation that's going to help auto insurance, or you're going to create some really great innovation that's going to help maybe health insurance, how are you going to distribute that to State Farm? Or how are you going to distribute that to AIG? How are you going to get this innovation in their hands? They're going to need you to integrate with their systems, and we've done it. We've spent years trying to figure that out. And now you've taken your small little innovation and you've had to build a complete distribution platform around it, right? So we solved that. We solved that. We allow you to bring it in. You set GWP is what we call it in the industry, gross written premium. So that is your juice. Very much like Ether charges gas, you charge your juice. When a policy binds, you get paid. You don't have to chase the money. You don't have to do anything. So that brings us to this. We've got our alpha program through. We have 3 different products that are built from outside developers that are now releasing on our system, and we're looking for the next generation of insurance developers. We're looking for those people that understand blockchain is not just a technology. Blockchain is a philosophy. And in order for blockchain to truly work, you have to integrate that philosophy into your business. If you continue to build solutions that just drive power from top to bottom, that is not going to disrupt anything, and the technology that we're creating is not going to do all of the change in which that brought everybody to this conference. So the biggest thing that I want to stress is if you get into insurance and you are building a technology, make sure it brings value to the actual customer. Make sure it brings value to all of us, because if you do a technology that creates value for an insurtech company, we just had one guy. One guy got benefit from that. And that's not what this whole movement is about. This whole movement is about bringing power to all of us. And so I think that I implore you, just as you go through, as you work through your MVPs, as you do that, always question, what is really blockchain about this? Is this truly blockchain? Is this truly disruptive, or am I just saving data in another way that I can share it with everybody? So that being said, next week, like I said, I'm going to be at that convention, and one of the big things is they're going to be saying, what is the blockchain industry, what is the blockchain community doing, and how do they want to bring their technology to insurance? So I see a lot of familiar faces that I've already talked to out at the booth, but does anyone have any questions or any ideas about how blockchain would apply to insurance? Or does anybody have any ideas that they'd like to ask to see, you're thinking about a certain implementation? Is there anybody here? The billions of dollars, none of that, trillions of dollars, no, that didn't entice anybody, so no. Thank you. I don't know your name, sir. Could you please speak up?
So, in America, is no doubt you can disrupt the industry because it's a whole and big problem and there is no transparency. But what about global? Sure. How you guys will change the world and make it a better place? Please explain.
Thank you. Thank you. So, what we have in insurance is we have processes, right? And you have many different components you have your pricing of insurance, you have your distribution of insurance, and as the American insurance market is one of the most matured markets in the world. We've gone through all the trial and errors. And so what we have is partners from emerging markets, Italy, the EU, Russia, Asia. They are coming and saying, we have insurance product, but we don't understand the process. We can't implement these building blocks. We can't just port this general liability product over to this other agent or over to this other carrier. You can't sell risk back and forth. So there's a lot of friction inside of that, not only just inside of our country, but when you go globally, there is a whole nother layer of friction that's out there. Our solution, by providing these building blocks, our solution allows people who are in emerging markets overseas, they can use the model of mature insurance practice and they can apply that to their emerging market and get that same, I don't want to say healthy environment, but you get that same stable insurance environment for the program. Anyone else? Yeah.
Thank you very much. My question has to do with the nature of the insurance market. The way that the insurance market works is there's a cycle, essentially, where there's a lot of hard market where there's going to be very high prices.
Yeah.
Because of the nature of, like, for example, if you had just had a catastrophe,
yeah,
then all the prices go up.
Yeah.
And then you have a soft market where things kind of like the volatility comes down. And
correct.
So with this, how would you, tell the customer to differentiate whether, it's a nature of the cycle or whether the savings is really coming from, the technology innovation?
Sure. So the reason why insurance goes through cycles is, a little bit if it's flood insurance, obviously weather, and that's gonna contribute to it. So that's an obvious piece of it. But the other side is the inability to properly assess risk. So what happens is you think you're assessing this risk and you go along and you write premiums and you lose a whole lot of money, right? Some certain insurance carriers go out of business because they didn't properly underwrite that risk. And so that is really, in a way, hard market, soft market. It's the companies figuring out how to accurately price their products. And I think that once we allow the more innovations, like one of our products we're working with is for liquor liability insurance. And so we tap into the actual POS system to pull the liquor sales numbers, so that way when we're charging that premium, it's done in real time and it's done accurately. And now the client isn't seeing this kind of wave of his price of insurance. It's more flatlining that's based upon his actual risk. And so what we see is that whenever you go blockchain, right, you're going to create that transparency. We're going to see as customers what is the model that this product is built upon. So the AI, all these great things are going to come in and augment the ability to simplify. We don't want to make it more simple for the carriers. Now, this is not a popular statement, but we don't want the carriers to be making money in a more simple fashion. We want us to be buying insurance in a more simple fashion. We want us to be understanding insurance in a more simple fashion. And technology is supposed to be helping us do that.
Okay, one last question, if there is any. All right, well, let's
Thank you very much.
Thank you.